Welcome to Aviation this week on Channels Television. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Bukola Joe Oketumbi. The International Air Transport Association says global passenger traffic results for 2020 is by far the sharpest traffic decline in aviation history. Here in Nigeria, returning the country's air transport sector to profitability post-COVID-19 requires that governments, airport authorities and airlines embrace the needed policy and friendly oversight regimes. How policy and regulation can impact on the sector's recovery is our interest. Plus, Serbia is now the new transit destination for Indian passengers. Our flight is set for takeoff. The sharpest traffic decline in aviation history occurred in 2020 as figures from the International Air Transport Association shows revenue passenger kilometers fell by 65.9% compared to the full year of 2019. In Nigeria, COVID-19's economic impact revealed a revenue loss of $994 million in 2020. In terms of employment risk, it cost over 125,000 jobs, and loss of contribution to the gross domestic product is put at $885 million. For a speedy recovery, interest parties believe the aviation industry in Nigeria must witness a shift in policy and regulation. For many years, the industry has witnessed a lot of changes in terms of management, policy and regulation, while challenges of funding, climate change, technological innovation, fueling, among others, further worsened due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
And in the last few months, we installed more than...
Many interested parties in the industry believe these challenges must be overcome, and that's the crux of discussions at this occasion.
Today, there is only one process for obtaining AOC, whether you intend a small, medium, or large operation. Unless this system is changed so the little operators intending to do small sectors of aviation will be frustrated ab initio. ICAO standard, small, medium, or large operations are supposed to exist within a CAA system. The model exists everywhere. Example, air taxi, air charter, high-value cargo operations, non-scheduled, scheduled operations, etc. ICAO encourages no discrimination at all.
While one party is asking for the breakdown of the airline certification process, the industry's regulator states that the 2006 Civil Aviation Act is currently undergoing review at the National Assembly. The regulator believes that policy and regulation cannot be divorced from each other.
I state clearly here, a lot of misconception. The Ministry of Aviation sets the policies. NCA cannot divorce itself from Ministry of Aviation. We're an agency of Ministry of Aviation, and we are here to implement the policy of Ministry of Aviation. I've heard a lot of comments from the press that NCA should be independent. Yes, when it comes to regulatory functions, NCA is 100% independent. And I can categorically state here, and you can quote me anywhere, Ministry of Aviation has neither nor the minister has never ever interfered with our regulatory function. In fact, it's the other way. The minister has taken decisions, and I call him, as you said, blah, 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 and he reversed himself based on our regulation.
For the airline and airport operators, the impact of COVID-19 is persisting, and government's policies must provide room for growth.
If you're in this industry, policy is there just to guide you. You do not have to think about the process or the procedure or the SOP. It's provided for you, but you have a responsibility to ensure that of your own volition, as a professional, you commit to that implementation. It's very important. We do not have experts that need to be spoon-fed or driven to do the right thing.
The argument that airlines will fare better with less of the surcharges, which are just to take care of recurrent and staff bills, they do not need. Government would do well to review and reverse some of these recommendations. Also, ipso facto justified that only the technical staff of these agencies that are providing direct services for the airlines should be factored into the revenue generation from the airlines. This will help the airlines to survive.
A major airline operator speaks to the issue of incessant delays and cancellations.
When you cancel flights, you incur a lot of unimaginable costs to yourself. So no airline will want to cancel for the fun of it. And delays and cancellations happen all over the world. It's all about safety. This time of the year, this is rainy season, thunderstorms. You might sit in Lagos and the weather in Lagos might be okay, but you might sit in Lagos and you're going to Abuja and you call your friend, because passengers do that. When you tell them weather is not good, they might call their relations in Abuja. They will tell them everywhere is clear. Lagos is clear, Abuja is clear. But they don't understand that the en route weather also matters. They are en route, there must be thunderstorm. So you don't take off, you delay. And once you delay because of any reason, it affects the entire day.
On the whole, aviation is central to the economy of every nation. Each government contributes to this economic well-being when it fosters a safe, competitive and sustainable aviation industry. The Ministry of Aviation says it's working hard at changing the face of aviation through its numerous efforts. That's the submission of the representative of the Ministry of Aviation at this event on policy and regulation.
The ministry, in conjunction with the aviation agencies, are working with the National Assembly to review, amend all the aviation agencies acts to provide effective management of services and align with modern technological development in line with international best practices and development. Two legislative houses have held public hearings on the matter and at the stage of finalization of their report. The review of the acts include the NCAA 2006, the FAAN 2010, Nigerian Airspace Management Agency Act of 1999, Nigerian College of Aviation Technology Act 1964, Nigerian Meteorological Act 2003, and Nigeria Safety Investigation Board Act 2019 in international civil aviation. To urgently improve the operating environment, some urgent steps were taken in consultation with the relevant government ministries, departments, and agencies, which yielded the following results. 0 import duty on aircraft engines and spare parts, improved availability of aviation fuel, restructuring of the aviation agencies, improvement in aviation safety and security, upgrade of INCAT into a regional center of excellence, introduction of policies on remote piloted aircraft, employment policies on the enforcement of expatriate quota. Nigeria presently has bilateral air services agreement with 89 countries, while 15 countries have indicated their preparedness to sign BASAs with Nigeria, and 13 other countries are in the threshold of renegotiation. We are committed to achieving the completion of outstanding projects and programs we have set out for ourselves before our term runs out. We have a vision of a sector that will provide utmost comfort, safety, and security for majority, if not all, passengers in Nigeria.
This is the new terminal at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport in Lagos. The airport, currently undergoing finishing touches, is being constructed by the China Civil Engineering Construction Corporation. Just recently, the chairman of the Senate and the House Committee on Aviation paid a visit to the airport, and both believe it's time to put the airport to use.
Federal government should go in the Chinese, because the project itself was awarded by the federal government. So it should be the federal government that should come to the aid of FAN and make the resources available so that we can take over this terminal building.
England has begun allowing fully vaccinated visitors from the European Union and the United States to arrive without quarantine in a huge and long-awaited boost for airlines and travel companies. The government said that from August 2nd, travelers with US and EU-approved vaccines will not have to quarantine. The opening up of England will likely be followed by the rest of the United Kingdom. Travelers will, however, still have to take a COVID-19 test before departure and soon after arrival in England.
We can only set the rules for our end. That's always been the case, and people should always. We're saying you can come here, you can come and visit, you can come and see friends, you can come as a tourist if you've been double vaccinated and follow the rules without quarantine.
Quarantine for fully vaccinated Britons returning to the UK from medium-risk countries was scrapped on July 19th, helping to kickstart a travel recovery. But frequent rule changes over the last 2 months means travel is still plagued by uncertainty.
We are very, very conscious about ensuring that we don't import variants of concern. And so I think the British public are pleased if we err on the side of caution and safety, and that's what we've tried to do throughout. But at the same time, we recognise double vaccinations where they're approved by either the European Medicines Agency or by the federal agency in the States. And so now is a good time to open up, and we look forward to that being reciprocated in time, and particularly for the US market.
Moreover, the US remains shut to British visitors. So for the transatlantic carriers like British Airways and Virgin Atlantic, planes will primarily be carrying US citizens to England. The agencies overseeing New York's bridges, trains and seaports will require their workers to get the COVID-19 vaccine or get tested weekly starting next month amidst rising cases of the Delta variant.
Well, we've taken the first step. Federal government's done it, state government has done it, some local governments have done it, which is you either have to get a vaccine or a weekly test. That's the first step, but it's only the first step. That, I believe, we need to expand. Today, the MTA, Port Authority, thank you very much, are adopting that policy starting Labor Day in New York. Port Authorities, New York and New Jersey.
Cuomo said he's asking bars, restaurants and other private businesses to consider requiring all customers be vaccinated before entering. He also says that vaccines could become mandatory for nursing home workers and teachers if case numbers do not improve. The push by the New York governor marks the latest attempt by government leaders to spur reluctant Americans to get vaccinated as the Delta variant of the coronavirus surges nationwide, infecting mostly unvaccinated people. Cuomo's announcement comes on the heels of a decision by President Joe Biden to require millions of federal workers and contractors to show proof of vaccination or be subject to weekly or twice-weekly COVID-19 tests. Strong gusty winds has fanned a fire in Santa Cruz, Bolivia, spreading it from a nearby meadow to the Viru International Airport, the country's largest airport. Bolivian Public Works Minister Edgar Montano told local media he believes it was an arson attack. Montano added that the fire had burned down 1,600 hectares and caused 25 flights to be cancelled, affecting 2,600 passengers. The Public Works Ministry will ask prosecutor's office to investigate this event.
See how Indian passengers are passing time in Serbia as they transit to their major destinations. That's after the break. To join us again.
Now to Serbia, where quarantine tourism is flourishing as thousands of Indian travelers use the Balkan country for a 2-week stopover before continuing their journeys west to countries with strict quarantine rules on arrival. India has registered more coronavirus cases than any other country, except the United States, and its citizens are barred from entering many countries unless they spend 2 weeks elsewhere en route. Serbia has become a popular stopover destination for Indians because it offers them visa-free entry if they've been vaccinated and test negative for the virus. They're also required to spend at least the first 7 days of their stay in Serbia in isolation, depending on conditions set by their destination countries, and take another coronavirus test at the end of their quarantine. Indian national Tarek Modi says he stayed in Serbia's capital en route to Canada.
Actually, we are traveling to Canada from here. So we have a layover here for 7 days. Now we'll travel to Canada tomorrow morning.
Quarantine.
Yeah, it was a quarantine.
Well, we actually just had a couple of routes. One was Serbia and one was Mexico.
Okay.
The Mexico thing was a little bit expensive before, but that's why we chose Serbia. But then a week before we were supposed to depart from India, they changed the quarantine rules here. So we had to quarantine here for 7 days. But I guess Serbia is good, so it's not a bad idea, you know.
I'm married to a man who are living in USA, so I'm gonna go to USA. So I try to choose this third country travel so I can just go and see him. So it's been 2 years, like we are staying apart, so we are not getting to get time to spend with each other like constantly. So I came here on 4th of July. So on 4th of July I had a flight on 19th, but because of CBP issues and rules keep on changing. So I stayed here like for 15 more days. So technically I'm gonna complete my 32 days in Serbia and then gonna go and join my husband there. But the best part is I met so many friends here, Jay, Aishwarya, and of course Jagdish. So it was a very good time here, yeah.
While Mechanical Inspector Sarish says the trip to Belgrade was organized by his employer.
I'm working in Saudi Arabia as a mechanical inspector. So it's planned, this trip is planned by my company. They provide the ticket, so...
Another traveler from India needed to spend 14 days away from India before he could enter the United States. He said he decided to choose Serbia as he did not need a visa and was interested in exploring the city.
I waited for some time to see like things will open up, but things are not changing. So then we decided to go ahead and, take another route where US put like, you should be out of India for 14 days. So we choose Serbia because, it is, we don't need really visa because we are coming from India. It is a visa-free country for Indians. And it is also a beautiful city to explore and, we have a lot of good places to see around. So that was the main reason we selected Serbia to visit.
Serbian hotel owners says thousands of Indians came to Belgrade in July, filling up hotels. Manager of Mark Group Hotels, Ilija Smiljanic, says people were searching for extra beds and that all Belgrade hotels were housing some Indian guests. Serbia, a country receiving about 2.5% of its gross domestic product from tourism, suffered a loss of more than 1 billion euros in revenues last year because of COVID-19 restrictions. But in June, Serbia recorded a 48.4% annual increase in tourist arrivals and the number of overnight stays increased by 39.3%.
The International Air Transport Association expects net airline industry losses of $47.7 billion in 2021. This is an improvement on the estimated net industry loss of $126.4 billion in 2020. IATA adds that industry losses of this scale imply a cash burn of $81 billion in 2021, but sees a relief with government financial measures and capital markets having been filling this hole in airline balance sheets, preventing widespread bankruptcies. While it appears that the world is opening up, international travel is still more cautious. On the foreign front, Irish low-cost carrier Ryanair reported a record annual after-tax loss of $989 million early this week, after COVID-19 restrictions forced it to scrap over 80% of flights. But the Irish airline said there were signs the recovery had begun. Group Chief Executive Michael O'Leary said the airline was very optimistic for the coming couple of months as the UK's vaccine program continues to be a success.
European countries recognise that they're beginning to lift restrictions on inbound UK visitors.
Away from UK to Hong Kong, as a planned air travel bubble between Hong Kong and Singapore has been moved again. Many countries and airlines appear to be getting out of the woods gradually. In Nigeria, domestic travel appears to be scaling up except for the paucity of aircraft occasioned by the pandemic. Beyond this, new airlines started by foraying heavily into the domestic market. A few months ago, United Nigeria, a local carrier with Enugu Airport base, made its entry. Green Africa Airways, NG Eagle, Rano Air, Northeast Shuttle are some of those gearing up to fly as they process their papers with the regulator. Just recently proposed Cross River State-owned carrier Cali Air brought in some aircraft into the country.
I'm really happy, not only that because of the business relationship, I'm just looking at also these are kind of like ideas that we want in this country.
Though a cheering development for the beleaguered industry, stakeholders have warmed up to the news with surprise and cautious optimism. For the country's air regulator, Nigeria is a huge market and the demand is growing, and it's a virgin market that becomes larger. Passengers in the industry also see the incoming additions as an opportunity for price slashes and healthy competition.
Having more airline is part of the solution. For instance, this trip I'm cashing now took me more than 1 hour searching. They say fully booked. So I have to do like somebody fishing and then see that something has dropped. The price is crazy. The stress it puts on you is so much. But when we have more, and the efficiency is actually there, then we will enjoy it.
Oh, I think it's a good thing. It creates a healthy competition. The more airlines we have, the more carriers we have, the more options the travelers are going to have. It helps neutralize the possibility of monopoly from the main carrier, such as Arik, Dana Air, and the other airline, the Air Peace. So I think it's always a good thing in a society to have a healthy competition. So by all means, we should have them come. Baggage handling and delays. So those are things, if they want to rise above their peers, they should focus on those areas, especially delay. If the flight's supposed to leave at 2 p.m., by all means, leave at least within 2 p.m.
Some others add that federal government should invest more in the sector.
I think time, right? I think every Nigerian can relate to the fact that our airlines are very terrible at keeping to time, right? Delayed flights, cancelled flights, without, good compensation. I don't think that's professional enough. Also, maybe customer service, can also be worked on. And then the maintenance of the flights as well.
The check-in process is still like you are going to war. It shouldn't happen like that. The federal government needs to improve even the route network leading to the airport. People miss their flight not because they didn't wake up early. You can stay in the traffic and miss your flight. It doesn't matter what time you left your house. So in terms of infrastructure and the terminal building itself, we haven't started.
Industry investors believe it's a lot of courage to float airlines at a time of global downturn, traveler apathy and heavy reliance on government bailout to save existing airlines from collapse. Some optimists foresee survival and win-win, where the new and old carriers are open to good business plans, merger and better cooperation to evolve stronger airlines that can compete on the international front.
That's our show this week. See you next time. I'm Bukola Joe Uketumbi.